With more than 500 unique games included in Game Pass, subscribers often ask themselves what to play next. Obviously, there are a ton of AAA games included in Game Pass, but there are also smaller games coming from AA studios or indie games that are very well worth a playthrough, but tend to get overlooked. And that's the beauty of Game Pass. It helped me to discover some great games that I normally would have not played, and that's what this video is for, giving you some recommendations on those hidden gems in Game Pass. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with a recommendation video on the hidden gems in Game Pass. And returning viewers to my channel might remember that last summer we already had such a video, but that's the thing about Game Pass. They add constantly new games, and so it's worth to make another video on the hidden gems. And one last thing before we dive into the games, you should treat yourself and set your player to full 4K 60 FPS to get the best audio-visual experience I can deliver to you. And while you're at it, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys, you are awesome, and now let's talk about the secret recommendations in Game Pass. I want to start with The Ascent. That game was added in July 21 and it's an action RPG played from an isometric perspective, and with that look it directly reminds of games like Diablo. But this one is set in a cyberpunk universe and there are more differences in between Diablo and The Ascent. In The Ascent you live on the planet Veles in a metropolis that is entirely owned by a corporation called the Ascent Group. You and everyone in your district is owned by that company, and one day suddenly there are some multitude of events happening and the Ascent Group shuts down for unknown reasons. And guess who suddenly needs to take up arms and take on the mission to find out what happened? It is a classic action RPG where you find a ton of loot, you can improve your skills and stats and level up your character accordingly. There's not really an end game content in that game, however it takes you about 15 to 20 hours to beat the game. That can be either played solo or in co-op, and it's definitely worth a playthrough because the core gameplay mechanics like shooting are spiced up with a very interesting and unique cover system that makes the fights engaging and rewarding. Definitely a recommendation. The next game I want to mention is the Artful Escape. This game was a total surprise to me because I did not expect that game to be such a unique experience. It's basically a very simple jump and run, but with a focus on music that is unprecedented. The story is actually quite good, where you take over a young man who becomes part of a music universe unlike any other. You basically run through the levels pressing down the X button to shred on your guitar, and I couldn't recommend it more. Yes, it's simple, but there is really something special to this. And it's kinda hard to explain in a video because you have to experience this for yourself. All the combination of the gorgeous visuals, the amazing music and the feeling that you get when you walk through the levels. It's not like the game has a deep gameplay mechanic or anything, but experiencing that game, especially with your headphones on, you will get so much out of this experience. And I definitely recommend everyone to play past the tutorial in this one because that's when the game really hits big time. Alright, next up is a game called the Gunk. This is an action adventure with a stylized cartoony look graphic where you play as one of the two girls in a team that try to discover new planets to find resources on that planet. The gameplay loop is relatively simple. Your character has different abilities, but your main task is usually to suck up gunk that is covering the planet that you landed on and destroying all life on it. It sounds weird, but sucking up the gunk is kind of satisfying, and there are some cool little riddles to solve, and the writing in this game is actually quite good and funny. There's a good interaction in between the two main protagonists, and the story is good enough that I wanted to play through the entire game to find out what happened on this planet. The riddles are not too difficult, but it's still rewarding to play this game, and it looks at points really beautiful with some stylized visuals. The next game I want to recommend is State of Decay 2. Now, some of you might say, hey, that's not a secret recommendation because we know that already more than 10 million players played that game. Nevertheless, it's a game that I rarely see people talk about, so I definitely wanted to include it here in this list. State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival game with a unique permadeath mode, so you don't play as one main protagonist or something. You have multiple characters, you can find new characters in the world that can join your team, and it's basically up to you to build up a good good base. You go out with your characters in the post-apocalyptic zombie world to collect resources and whatnot, and make sure to always go out prepared well, because once of your characters die, they are gone for good. This adds a special kind of tension to the gameplay loop, and it's super addictive. Over the last years, the game has been significantly improved and so much content has been added, and that's why I cannot only recommend it to new players but also to those who played it years ago, especially with the third one already being announced. Another recommendation I definitely want to give is Tetris Effect. What can I say about this? I mean, it's Tetris, yes, but they added some cool twists to this one. Some of the levels and gameplay elements are really cool, and Tetris in its core is just pure fun. And all that is wrapped in a beautiful presentation with some colorful graphics, some very intense music, and I would be surprised if you wouldn't find yourself playing way more of this game than you intended. There's just something satisfying about Tetris, and there's always this one more round hook to it, so while recording this, I'm already downloading it again because I need to play another round, and I hope you do too. My next recommendation is The Medium. This is a horror game that can only be played on the current gen consoles, the Xbox Series X and S. The Medium is quite an intense game. You play as this lady here that can somehow switch in between two worlds, the world of the living and the world of what lies beyond. This is not an action game, it is a riddle-based horror game that focuses on a strong storytelling. The game has some unique mechanics with the two-world setting. Sometimes you play in both worlds simultaneously via split screen, sometimes you switch in between the two worlds to move something around in one world and then get access to something in the other one. But overall, the mood in this game is really good, and that's what definitely makes The Medium worth a playthrough. Then I want to recommend a game called Unravel 2. This is a side-scrolling platformer / riddle game, and one that definitely stands out with its beautiful visuals. With some almost photorealistic looking backgrounds, this is definitely a highlight, but also there is a special soundtrack that this game has that really helps to set up the mood. Don't worry if you haven't played the first one, you can directly jump into Unravel 2, which has some great platforming challenges, some cool riddles, and the entire game can be played in co-op if you want to do that. So, you play as Yarny here in this game, who can obviously spin some yarn in between certain points, and that's mainly the premise for all the riddles and the platforming that is going on. Next, I want to recommend Halo Wars 2. Yes, I consider this a hidden gem because many gamers did not play that game because it is a real-time strategy game on a console. But boy, did they show with this game that real-time strategy games can be easily played with controllers. The game not only has a fantastic campaign to play through with some really cool cutscenes and a very good story plot, but the mission design is also very diverse and the multiplayer is also super fun. So I definitely recommend everyone to give this game a chance, because what other than a little bit of your time do you have to lose? But this is definitely a game that everyone I know who has played it said he or she enjoyed it, and that's very rare in a game. Next up, I want to recommend a game called ReCore. This is a game that is already 6 years old, but still worth a playthrough. It's basically an open world Metroidvania type of game. And I don't know why, but many just didn't give this game a chance and then missed out on something special. The atmosphere is really good when you explore the planet that you land on and try to find out the mysteries that are going on. There's something challenging but rewarding about the platforming that is to be done in the game. There's also some battle sequences and action-driven parts of the game, and overall I did not only enjoy the story, but I really enjoyed the gameplay mechanics of this game. And last, but in no way least, I definitely want to recommend Hades. This is an award-winning indie game, and rightfully so. This is a dungeon crawler roguelike game where you play Zagreus, the son of Hades, who tries to escape from his father's underworld and make it to the Olymp. This is a hack and slash game that is very fast paced, but it's one of the most addictive games to play in Game Pass right now. Those who are new to the roguelike genre might find it weird at the beginning that whenever you die you basically start all over again and are being sent back to the underworld, and you start at the very beginning. The thing is that with every escape run you will find certain items to increase your character stats either temporarily or permanently, and with that you level up and become better and better, and suddenly you find yourself trying another escape run and another one and another one. Definitely one of the best indie games available in Game Pass right now. But with that, I want to bring this video to an end. Game Pass is the gift that keeps on giving, and there are so many different type of games in Game Pass that there is literally something to play for everyone. I hope you found these recommendations helpful, and if you need even more recommendations, I will definitely link at the end of this one 2 other videos that focus on hidden gems in Game Pass and the best big AAA games that are available in Game Pass right now. And since Game Pass adds games constantly, I will definitely make an update video to this one, so if you don't want to miss out on those, I would appreciate appreciate it if you consider to hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell to get notified whenever I drop a new video. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can now become a channel member and get early access to all my videos and get custom-made badges and emojis that can now be used not just in the comment sections but also in my brand new live podcast called The World of Gaming here on YouTube, which will air every Friday 8 PM Central Europe time, 2 PM Eastern or 7 PM UK time. This is a podcast from and with the community discussing all the things that the world of gaming has to offer, including games, news and technology. But let me thank everyone who supports this channel in any kind of way. You guys are awesome and make this channel to what it is. And now let me know in the comments down below, what are your secret recommendations in Game Pass? And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching, I see you the next time, and game on!